Clemson might have 5 first-round picks in the 2026 NFL Draft. We'll talk about it right here on Locked On Clemson.
You are Locked On Clemson, your daily podcast on the Clemson Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Tiger fans? I'm Morgan Thomas, Clemson fan, Clemson grad, host and producer of Locked On Clemson, and part-time host and producer over on 105.5 FM The Roar. Thank you so much for making Locked On Clemson your first listen every day. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And if you're new to the show, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button so you never miss an episode. You know how we do it here on Locked On. Exclusive Clemson content Monday through Friday, every single week. And you don't forget to follow me over on X. In between episodes, you can talk to me at The Morgan T Show, where we can talk about all things Clemson whenever and however you want. Today's episode is brought to you by Amazon Fire TV Stick 4K. Turn any TV into your Xbox, no console needed. Head over to amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On to learn more. Today's show, we're going to talk about Clemson's NFL draft class for next season, and also some new news about the Bermuda grass in Death Valley. And then USA Today came out with a new ranking of Clemson in the top 5. And so we'll give you our take on that as well. Jam-packed episode. I thank you so much for being a part of it as always. So let's dive right into it. We're breaking down Clemson's prospects for the 2026 class to start it off. Clemson's been an NFL talent machine, as you know, and you're probably very aware of under Dabo Swinney. It's been an era of great football, national championships, and many players into the NFL. 68 draft picks since 2011, 55 since 2014, seventh most in both time periods. The buzz is in the building around being able to get you to the NFL. So if you're a prospect out there that's in high school looking to get developed and build towards an NFL career, well, Clemson would be one of those teams that you should have high on your list. And there will be a lot of players continuing to go into the NFL draft. We had a couple this past draft last weekend. It was pretty exciting. Started off with Barrett Carter and got some other guys in there as well. But next season, there seems to be maybe some buzz around that because there could be even more and maybe even a few first-round draft picks. And some people on the message boards are saying maybe even 5 first-round draft picks. I don't know if I could hype it up that much for you, but next April is definitely going to be a very good one because of the talent that Clemson is returning in 2025. And if those guys stay healthy and have what I like to call a contract year, then I think the draft haul will be big time. The fan base is already looking at what the ceiling is for sure. I think that realistically, to me, I feel like you'd probably have 1 or 2 at least. I can expect a few. 5, I don't know, kind of pushes it. Now, if we're talking about total selections, then I could get on board with that. But to me, I can see Clemson having at least 1 first rounder in this next NFL draft. So I think that that's one thing that I have kind of circled to see who it will be. Now, my first round lock, I know you're probably thinking I would say Peter Woods. He's definitely right there, 6'3", 315, got that rare agility. He's kind of like a unicorn at the defensive interior position. If his production spikes back up after returning and being healthy, you know, he got injured early on last season, kind of what I think was a dirty block below the waist, off the ball, not even in play, and he got blocked and kind of messed him up for the next couple of games and really, I think, for half of the season. So if he can get back to being healthy, I think he'll be able to move back into his more traditional position now that they have Will Helt on the outside. So to me, if he performs the way that we think he will, now that he's more in his traditional position, I think he's definitely a first-round draft pick. But he's not my lock. My lock is going to be TJ Parker. I think he is one of the best defensive ends in the country. 2024, he had 11 sacks, 6 forced fumbles, and, was in the record books for Clemson at the defensive end position based on how disruptive he was in the backfield. Can he be a top 10 pick? I don't know. Maybe top 10 if he continues to be extremely dominant. The defensive end or edge position is one that is highly sought after into the NFL, and he is definitely one of those guys I think is going to be up high on the list. Could he be a top 15 guy? Maybe so. I think for me, I definitely have him as in the first round. Peter Woods could be my guy that's right behind him. So 1, 2 for me, not shocking. You get a little bit further down the list and saying 3 or 4 and even 5, that's when I think, okay, these guys are going to have some big time seasons. I think Cade Klubnik would be in the mix for sure. Maybe if Cade has a monster season like we think he will have, if he throws for close to 4,000 yards or definitely over 3,000, if he gets up into the 30 touchdown range again, if he keeps his interceptions down low and he continues to run the ball with confidence, I think that he can definitely make it in the first round. For me, though, the biggest question mark is, can he win the big games against the biggest teams in the country? We really haven't seen that with Cade Klubnik. Now, he has a lot of wins under his belt, and he has a lot of trophies under his belt, but he doesn't have what I would say is that signature win against a top team out there quite yet. SMU, not it for me. North Carolina in the ACC championship, not it for me either. So he needs a big game. He's definitely going to have him opportunities in 2025. So can he get that career defining game? If he does, and he has even a 10% better season than he did last season, I think he would be your third guy in the top because he would be one of those mobile guys that has that great personality and is a leader in the locker room, and somebody you can trust to build your franchise around, or even kind of develop over 1 or 2 years. It is kind of weird to think, though, Cade Klubnik being a franchise guy in the NFL, it seems like there's just a gap there. There's something missing that he has to figure out in 2025. He has to show consistency, poise, and then he has to get those marquee games out there. But if he gets those in 2025, which he will have those opportunities, then it could be a big time for the Tigers. Another guy that's in that mix is Avion Terrell. I know he has the ball skills and the speed for sure. His size is really kind of the biggest knock against him. He's under 6 foot. And the biggest thing, though, he has that NFL pedigree because his brother is already there and doing well. So can he rise to the occasion? Cornerback is definitely a position that is highly sought after in the NFL. So possibly that could be one. I think that, to me, it's stretching it to be a first rounder for Avion Terrell. Now, the other 3, I could see your case. Definitely for the first 2, Cade Klubnik, I could see a case. Avion, we'll see. I don't know if the measurables and everything really hurt you. But if he goes out there and he blows the doors off like Nate Wiggins did in the 40, then, for sure he could be up there. Maybe he has to show some things in the combine to kind of really solidify the opportunity. Now, will he be a high draft pick? I think so. I think he'll be up there for sure. Another guy that, doesn't get a lot of love and gets some criticism from me is Blake Miller. But he only had, when I looked this up, he only had 1 sack allowed in 900 something snaps. So, that's really, really good. Right tackles, he's never moved over to left tackle, and he's only ever been a right tackle. That, to me, is kind of my biggest question mark. Like, how versatile can he be? Because I don't see him, if he couldn't break into the left tackle position in college, he's not going to do that in the NFL. And is he going to be just a one-side offensive lineman? I don't know if that's really a high chance or probability there. Maybe hurts him if he can't show or prove that he is versatile from many different positions on the offensive line. We'll have to see with them. I think those are the ones that I'm seeing mostly talked about on the message boards. There's a couple of other ones as well. Antonio Williams, at the wide receiver position, he's a Mr. Reliable. I don't see him as a first round draft pick, but he could be a sleeper there. There's a lot of other guys as well, like DeMonte Capehart, and some of the other guys that have been circled around that, I guess aren't really ready yet. To me, I think they'll come back for another year. But I'm looking forward to this season, really, because they definitely have the talent on the defense and offensive side of the ball. Clemson should be poised to make it to the postseason in 2025 and maybe even further along as well. We've got USA Today later on in the show. They are already having them in the top 5. So if history continues the way it's going, Clemson will have another really good 2025. and Clemson will have a great NFL draft going into 2026. So you're looking at a lot more draft picks for next season and next NFL draft season. So I'm really excited for it. Hey, let me know what you think in the comments over on YouTube or message me over on X at the Morgan T Show. If I'm completely wrong, I'd love to get your feedback and who your top players are for the 2026 NFL draft, or if I missed one completely. Coming up next, we're going to talk about the new Bermuda grass and how it could make Death Valley one of the best fields in the country. There's nothing like the atmosphere of an NFL playoff game. Every bucket, every defensive stop, every moment feels huge. It's electric in the arena, and with Gametime, you can be part of it without the stress or last-minute ticket hunting. Gametime makes it fast and easy to get playoff tickets, even when demand is sky high. Prices on the app actually go down as the tip-off gets closer, and their last-minute deals can save you 60%. I told you a couple of weeks ago, my friend went to the Atlanta Braves game, and he saved 60% by waiting for that last minute because those deals pop up and you take advantage of them. You got a great ticket and got to see his favorite baseball team. Now, you don't just see baseball, you get sports, you got concerts, you get comedy, theater, all kinds of stuff out there. Go check out Gametime. All-in pricing as well means no surprise fees at checkout. So what you see is what you pay. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Again, Locked On College for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. Now it's time to talk some grass, some turf, and literally. Clemson's Memorial Stadium is getting a big time upgrade with something called Ready Play Natural Bermuda Grass, turning Frank Howard Field into a surface that should be worthy for maybe a big time event or maybe a playoff game or maybe even a Super Bowl. No, probably not a Super Bowl, but this isn't just new grass. It is a full transformation. They're moving into the high-tech Northbridge Bermuda variety, grown on, get this, plastic mats to form a 2-inch thick rhizome layer. Clemson partnered with Precision Turf and the same folks that were behind Allegiant Stadium and the Rose Bowl, and they delivered this really durable, really fast turnaround, ready to go, turnkey, TV ready in just a few days. Now, why did they go in and do this? Well, you know, you can probably see by my hat, there was a special visitor that came just this last weekend, and it was the Savannah Bananas, drew 81,000 fans, and Clemson needed to replace the field anyways because you could see it was deteriorating, especially on the sidelines and around kickoff in the middle of the field. So they made the decision to go with something very elite. The crews had put in clay to be able to have that infield there. If you went to the Bananas game, you know exactly what I'm talking about. They had the baseball field and the diamond there ready for the Bananas. Now they had to remove the clay, and they've already removed it, and they're putting in that turf and repurposing it. And they're actually moving the grass from the stadium to other places around campus that need it. So they're not just throwing it away. They're repurposing the grass that they currently had. So maybe you could get a piece of Death Valley, you know, somewhere else around campus. But this new instant play turf is going to be across the entire stadium, and they're going to be done in a week. And I'm heard that, you know, it's going to be ready almost immediately. It's safer. Supposedly, they have studies that are saying the natural grass and the way that they use the natural grass and how durable it is much safer. I prefer it. I know the NFL would prefer it because to me, it doesn't get as torn up. It's ideal to replace and install quickly. You know, and to me, I don't want to go to turf. You know, that would be the worst thing to do. I don't think Clemson would ever go that route, but I wouldn't want to go to turf. And if you, I mean, to AstroTurf, if you will, but maybe it could be a recruiting tool because now Clemson is saying not only do they have one of the best stadiums in the country with the best fan bases in the country, but they had the best NFL grade grass in the country. Clemson, to me, it might be kind of a small add-on, but if you're saying, you know, we put all of our effort into giving you the best product possible so you can be the best player you can be possible. I think this will be just another tip to show that Clemson can do that and is doing that. Now, some of the fans on the message boards kind of have a mixed reaction. Some love it, saying that it's going to be as pretty as Augusta National. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. Others are kind of skeptical, about how it's grown and some of the plastic that's involved in it. I think that, to me, they're spending the money to get what's best options are out there. Now, will it make the turf better? Will it make the performance better? I hope so. So, when Clemson plays a home game this season, I think it'll be really exciting to see how well they do. Now, speaking of home game, you start out with LSU, number 8 right now, ranked on August 30th at Memorial Stadium. So you're going to be able to try it out very early on and get to see what it's all about. Possibly I'll go down there and try to check it out as well and see if it feels any different under my feet. Then you're going to have the Troy Trojans come in. So you're going to have back-to-back games where you're really going to be able to push it. They'll travel to Georgia Tech, to Bobby Dodd Stadium in Atlanta, then come back at Memorial Stadium versus Syracuse on September 20th. So you'll have 3 games through September, and then they'll have a bye week at the end of September. So you're going to get an opportunity to see how well it does, see how well they perform. Possibly it can help, the running attack with this team. Who knows? I mean, we'll see how it kind of goes. Maybe we're overhyping it because it's just grass. I don't know how much it really matters or not, but I think it does matter a little bit. Clemson wouldn't do things just because. I think they do things to get a competitive advantage, a recruiting advantage, and also have the best possible products out there. Now, Clemson in October, they get 2 bye weeks this season, which is kind of, I don't know if that's normal. Maybe they've always done this and I kind of have forgotten about it, but they don't play the last weekend of September. They also don't play the last weekend of October. So you get North Carolina, at Boston College, and then they bring they host SMU at Memorial Stadium. So only 1 game, while you play 3 games in August, September, you play 1 game in October at home with SMU. So a whole month of not getting to see your team play but once. That's kind of a bummer. Even though you do get to see SMU, that'll be fun. I think a big possible rivalry that's brewing in the ACC because, SMU seems to be ready to play and they want to prove that the doubters out there that they can perform at the highest levels of college football, and they're going to be putting money into the program. They're going to want revenge from the ACC championship game that they narrowly lost at. And then in November, Clemson hosts Duke and Florida State back-to-back. Then they travel to Louisville and they host Furman to finish out the season before they go travel to Williams-Brice Stadium to play South Carolina and get revenge there on November 29th. So you're going to get 3 games late August, September, 3 games November, 1 game October. So, the turf will be put to test, but it'll have a little bit of breathing room there in the middle of the season to kind of see, if there's any kind of issues, maybe they can make adjustments as needed. But definitely a season where when you go back to kind of Cade Klubnik's performance and, how he'll be able to have his opportunities, I think a big opportunity for Cade will be, number 1, LSU. There's no doubt there. He's going to have to start off very quickly. Good thing is it's at home against Clemson. If you were playing a lot of SEC teams, it's very hard to get them to play a home game, or an away game rather. So the fact that LSU is coming to Memorial Stadium plays a big factor. It's going to be huge because it's going to be the battle of Death Valley there between the 2 Tigers. I look forward to going to that game. It's going to be a hot ticket for sure, being at the start of the season. It is going to be the first game of the season for Cade Klubnik to kind of prove what he can do, and the grass to kind of prove what it can do as well. So Cade, that's a big one. I think Syracuse is also a big one because, Syracuse kind of is going to come knocking saying, hey, you owe us because we beat Miami in order to allow you to get into the ACC championship game and then eventually win the ACC and get into the playoffs. So Fran Brown and Syracuse is going to be ready and willing and eager to kind of take down Clemson and possibly be a highly ranked Clemson team at the middle end of September there. So you got 2 opportunities there. I think, in October, there's 2 away games with North Carolina and Boston College, but I'm more circling SMU because of that revenge of the ACC championship game. So that's one that I'm circling there. And then in November, I really kind of circle a lot of these: Duke, Florida State, Louisville, and South Carolina. Those, to me, that is a very hard slate in November because all of those teams have a massive desire to take down Clemson and to embarrass the Tigers. Duke's already shown you can't sleep on them. Florida State has shown that they have revamped, so you won't even know what they're going to be like. We might know by that time, November 8th, we might know a little bit more about what they are like, but they're going to be completely different from last season. So if you say, oh, well, they were terrible last season, I would say don't even hold that against them because, they've gone to the transfer portal again and completely revamped. And then Louisville shut Clemson up last season, and they're gonna want to do it again at their home. And then South Carolina also shut down Clemson late in the game. They're going to want to show and prove that they can do it at their house as well because they haven't had very much luck either. So Louisville and South Carolina in November are going to want to get a home win against the Tigers to kind of rewrite or change the trajectory of that rivalry there. So definitely a lot of games for the turf, a lot of games for Cade Klubnik to prove what they can do. All right, we're going to finish up the show talking about the national rankings. So USA Today's top 25 came out and had Clemson ranked 5th nationally, and why or why not they are underrated or not. The NBA playoffs are almost here, and FanDuel is giving new customers an incredible way to get in on the action. Right now, when you join FanDuel and place your first $5 bet, you'll get $250 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. I love FanDuel because it's super easy. You can go in and pick your favorite team and just look at all the different kind of player props that they have available. It makes it really exciting, makes sports betting very easy. You have all different kinds of events that you can pick from. Doesn't have to just be sports, but a lot of fun things out there for sure. You can go into the NBA and do 3-pointers, steals, assists. FanDuel gives you all different kind of ways to have player prop bets for sure. Plus, after the game tips off, you can combine live prop bets into same game parlay for a chance to win big. So don't miss out. Head over to FanDuel.com and claim your $250 in bonus bets today. So Clemson is in the top 5 of USA Today's Postpring top 25, ranked 5 behind Ohio State, Penn State, Texas, Georgia. The Tigers jumped 2 spots from their last ranking in January after going 10-4 in 2024, winning the ACC. Dabo Swinney's squad is eyeing more than just another conference title. They are trying to build for another playoff run. They're trying to build for the national championship game. And the hype is very, very real. Cade Klubnik, as we mentioned earlier, if he improves himself by just 10%, if he has 3,300 passing yards, maybe 3,400 passing yards, if he goes for 35 touchdowns and has maybe 6 picks or less, keeps his picks around the same with, 600 yards rushing, I think he's going to be possibly in the top, first round of the NFL draft and really having one of the best seasons that we've seen from a Clemson football player at quarterback. He's back. I think he's better. I think he's going to be trusted to lead the team. But the biggest question mark, I think we've kind of touched on it throughout the season or the offseason is what are they going to do at running back? Jay Haynes tore his ACL at the end of, in the middle of the ACC title game. And the freshmen are going to have to step up along with Adam Randall. So my rotation, I think, is Adam Randall, then David Eziomume, then Gideon Davidson. If those 3 can rotate and carry the load and then throw in Keith Adams Jr. To kind of throw them off, I think that they're going to be strong and ready to build themselves towards a great fall season. Defensively, the Tigers, handed over the keys to Tom Allen, former Indiana head coach, former Penn State defensive coordinator, and he has absolutely been a great fit so far. Nothing but great information and great words about him, comments about him from the players, from the other coaching staff, just a whole new culture and atmosphere and just, feeling and vibe that is at the practice facility right now. Clemson could possibly win another ACC championship game. They were pretty bad when it comes to allowing rushing yards per play. So they've got to change that. And I think that they have the staff to do it. I think they have the roster and personnel to do it. Tom Allen, I'm really curious to see how aggressive he's going to be in 2025. I hear a lot of things about how aggressive he is, and I know a lot of fans were kind of frustrated with Wes Goodwin and how he would kind of drop back a little bit more than people would like, and definitely more than Brent Venables did. How is Tom Allen going to unlock the talent that Clemson has and get them to the next level? How is he going to incorporate an aggressive play style that doesn't let up and that kind of really shows what they can do and kind of put that pressure on? Now, the schedule, is definitely tough. You've got LSU to start the season, and as I mentioned, you've got a pretty tough November with Florida State, Louisville, and South Carolina there as well. So definitely going to be tested. I think the fans are really buzzing about it, saying that, Cade Klubnik, if he gets to a position, and I know I always do this every season, but if he gets to a position where he has a monster year and he's in the discussion for first round draft pick, then is he not also in the discussion for the Heisman Trophy? Oh, I know I said it. I know I said it, and it's November, or it's April 29th. I know, but it's not November, and I already said it. But I do have a lot of love for what Clemson has and what they're bringing to the table right now on the offensive side of the ball. Cade has no excuse, really. I mean, he's got a group of running backs that I think a lot of fans are really excited for, and we all love here on this show. He's got a lot of returning offensive linemen. I mean, a whole handful of wide receivers out there that he can throw to, that can get separation. And then the defense, to me, is poised for a rebound as well. Clemson is not sneaking up on anybody. As you know, they really haven't for many years now, but they're not sneaking up on anybody. They're going to get everybody's best shot. They're going to get the biggest blow possible. Can they beat LSU to start it off and then kind of roll from there? And go down the line. I just take it into segments, take it into months, just like I do basketball. How well can they do August, September? How well can they do October? How well can they do November? I think that Clemson, it is much, much more difficult this season, but the roster is definitely there for them to be able to take advantage of it and really attack. Hey, thank you so much for being a part of the show today. I really appreciate the love and support over on podcasts and also on YouTube. We've had a ton of views. Hey, listen, I've seen the growth in this channel and the growth in the listens and the views from when I started in February to now here at the end of April. And all I can say is thank you. Thank you for the love and support and the continued love and support. I'm going to help you get through the off season till we get to fall, and that's when we can really talk about some good stuff, because we've got games to talk about, and we'll get to see exactly what all this hype is all about with Clemson. Can they actually do what we think that they can do, what they were built to do? So thank you so much. I know it's getting towards the end of April here, and I want you to know how much I love and appreciate everybody as well for being a part of the show. All right. Thank you so much for making Locked On Clemson your first listen of the day. For your second listen, check out the Locked On NFL Draft with Damon Parson and Keith Sanchez as your favorite collegiate players get ready for the next level. They'll tell you about the latest draft rankings, rumors, and news every day. With the NFL, find Locked On NFL Draft on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. And as always, Tiger fans, I'll see you tomorrow, and I'll see you at the top of the hill.